Well, John O'Brake here with Mark and Linda. This is going to be a fun one. Again, doing our multi-continent experience. We've got awesome internet, great internet, and Australia. And
if I could just take a photo of how I'm doing this right now, that would be fabulous.
Get your son in; he'll figure it out.
What did you say before? You had the Bluetooth and the string hanging everything together?
I don't know.
Bluetooth. That's way too technical. Blue tack.
Blue tack.
No, blue tack.
So we got.
I'm telling you, this is what we international entrepreneurs do, right? We just make do, don't we?
We improvise.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Another. Oh my goodness! Yeah, it's classic. I'm going to take a photo of this thing here. Hang on, I gotta turn the camera around. How do I do that?
So while Michael's working out his tech, this is Michael Datter. There he goes. He's disappeared.
I've just taken a photo. I'm gonna send it to you guys.
Awesome. So, I will insert that as a little picture-in-picture in the video.
Oh my goodness!
So
well,
that's so too funny.
Just so everyone's aware,
yes.
Michael's phone is blue tacked, we believe, to his computer screen or somewhere.
Yes.
And so if he suddenly drops, or if he suddenly flies up in the air, which is what it'll look like to us, then that's why the blue tack has run out.
Yeah.
So welcome, Michael, mate, or Mick.
Thank you.
And we learned the other night. It's like, come
Thank
on,
you.
we're talking to an Aussie here, Mick.
Yeah.
And
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, welcome, Mick, mate. It's great having you here. We had a lot of fun the other night having a bit of a chat about, my question was, how do you do everything that you do? And it was funny because I then used that in 2 or 3 coaching sessions the next day. So I'll send you a bit of cash for that, man. So
thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Yeah. But
that was Instagram Live, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Instagram Live.
That was great. That was great.
Really,
it's a great tool. It's been one of those things where we've been able to, have some really cool little just snippets of interviews, and it's off the cuff, and that's the way we like it, right? And so anyway, here we are, Michael. This has been a lot of fun, and so I guess what we're just going to start off is let's talk about your story. Let's talk about where you've come from and how you got to be. I mean, you've got an awesome haircut, and we're practically twins, but
we are.
He's a mountain bike guy, so that makes him all right. And coffee, wine. So we're going to hit the story anyway. Michael, fire away.
Sure. Where does the story begin? Growing up on and off between Australia and the US as a kid, I guess, in the late 70s, moved from Newcastle in Australia off to the United States to Southern California. And it was a huge culture shock as a 9-year-old to move from the little, steelworks of Newcastle, surfing town of Newcastle in the 70s to Disneyland. Crazy. But it was amazing. And, through my father's work, we moved back and forth. He was an academic in the psychology field. I guess a lot to do with a whole array of behavioral psychology, clinical psychology, forensic psychology. So there's a lot of work in the US around forensics. And so it took him back and forth and obviously took us back and forth. So, but most of my, teenage years were between Sydney and also, again, scattered in the US, Georgia, San Francisco, and then Sydney. And I guess that gave me such a great view, a view on life and different people, cultures. And, as you guys know, in the US alone, geez, it doesn't, from county to county, it can be a different culture, So we're here in Australia. Here in Australia, we're fairly similar across the board. Maybe slightly different suburb to suburb, but
I've actually done a bit of a look into that, and it really is the difference of that 100 to 150 years of European colonization. that America is just that much older, and so you get
Yeah.
those massive differences. Whereas in the 1800s, people started moving around more, so there's more mix.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but I think through those experiences as a young kid traveling and living in different areas and so forth, I was very fortunate. I had the opportunity to either go to university in Australia in Sydney or go to university in the US. So I went to university in the US, and this is where you guys are going to laugh. I was not because my father's a doctor, but I wanted to be one. Well, I thought I did. And he always said, go to business school. Go to business school. You do not want to be a doctor. He goes, why do you want to be a doctor? And I said, so I can open up a range of practices, and and we can give therapy to very rich, unhappy people in Beverly Hills. It'd be fantastic.
The gold mine.
And he said, no, go to business school. Anyway, no, I wanted to go down that path, but look, it was really interesting. I didn't realize this probably till a couple of years into uni in Atlanta, Georgia, that I wanted to create something. I wanted to actually make something. And I think people ask, well, where did you get this want to become a winemaker? And I think it was really from my mother, who's not a winemaker either, but she's an incredible cook. And she can do anything with flavor. Like the way how she creates flavors is phenomenal. And the way she crafts things is amazing. Now, you take that and combine that with my father's passion for life and just for people, that I think infused into me. And so after university, I came back home to Australia, and I went straight to the Hunter Valley. I went straight to the Hunter in 1992. But I realized very quickly, guys, that wasn't going to pay the bills for me living in Sydney. So during the week, I got myself working at in the rag trade, Country Road, and on the weekends, I was working in the Hunter Valley as a cellar door assistant, cellar hand, and that carried through. But look,
Michael,
again,
can I just
yes.
ask you quickly, with that, coming from the States and also being in Australia, do you think that was the easy way for you to be able to knock down those barriers of being able to put your brand into the United States, because you knew, because you were familiar with it, there was no barrier there for you to say, I can't go into the US?
Yeah, no, I think, look, the barrier comes, I think, in the way that we approach things as Aussies. We unfortunately, whether it's the tall poppy or whether it's the ice, not all Aussies by all means, but the too hard factor. And if it's a bit too hard, we kind of sometimes go, oh, look, we'll just not go for it, or be put down or be knocked back. What I think I gained from growing up in the US is, look, as you guys know, Jono, we talked about it they celebrate success.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something
well,
great,
they actually celebrate failure well as well.
Yes. And it's like, well, come on, let's go for it. Let's do it. And when you do it, they're like, well, great. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of, and look, from periods of time in high school there and then university there, oh my gosh, it's it's a go mentality. But look, yes, I think
not quite the Hunter Valley. Not quite the Hunter, not quite Newcastle.
No. So here I've gone from this. Yeah. And I think, coming back to that part of going through my career, I was never very good at doing one job.
Is that
but
one
whatever
job,
probably any job. I made people feel good, so I guess it felt like I was doing a great job.
That's an important job, man.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I never knew. I didn't realize that I was going to be so great at sales until when I was on the Country Road sales floor, actually telling people that in menswear to start off with that, geez, you look great in that chambray shirt. You should buy some chinos with that. And you know what? How about a belt and some socks? And that just carried on, obviously, into a lot of things. But I think the turning point for me was that I fell into recruitment consulting world, because and in IT of all things. And I had an option of going to a retail recruitment role, which obviously kind of would have made sense coming from Country Road, and then a stint at Myer. But I love researching things. I'm a bit of a nerd around that. And I could see that the IT, obviously, industry in the mid-90s was absolutely rocketing and booming, especially in Sydney. And so I very fortunately met up with one of the CEOs and directors of a brilliant IT recruitment company back then, which was about to list on the Australian Stock Exchange. And we met over a wine taste. And he basically said to me, "You'd be great at recruitment." I went, "Oh, I thought you had to be a management consultant or have an MBA." He says, no, you just got to know how to get on with people. You do the people side, we'll do all the resourcing and the technical side, make people feel good, and we'll put people together, and you'll do very well.
So he bought the blue tack. Is that what you're saying?
He brought the blue tack. But and it was interesting because he asked me, as you do, when you're asking someone you're about to employ, so what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I said, owning a vineyard, being a winemaker and the hunter, and making amazing Shiraz and Semillon and Chardonnay or whatever. He went, well, you're not going to afford to do that working at retail or doing. You'll be able to do that by doing recruitment and doing it well. And I went, okay.
Recruitment paid very well back in those days. Oh,
still can.
100,000 a year. Oh yeah, the great days.
Yeah, and if you had the ability to connect quickly and execute well, you could quadruple that. And so we're talking around 1997. It just got to a point though where I was 27 years of age, and I thought to myself, well, hang on, I don't have my vineyards yet. No, I need them now. I want them now. So I went to my wonderful boss and mentor at the time, and I said, well, you did tell me that I could afford. He said, listen, you're 27. Don't worry. Have some patience. I said, no. I need more commission. I need to, And look, we didn't see eye to eye. And I said, well, I'm just going to go launch my own recruitment company. And, obviously back and forth. And because of, and you guys remember, look, all the different panels you have to be on to get these consultancy gigs. And obviously, you're dealing with massive companies. And I went to pretty much all of my clients and I said, look, I'm thinking about going on my own. Will you take candidates from me? They said, no, we can't take them from you from the beginning, but we can look at your candidates later on if the candidates that we've seen from the other companies don't work out. Well, fortunately, I never gave up. So I went out on my own and we started placing people very, very quickly. And within the first 12 months, we had 130 contractors out there.
Wow.
And high-end contractors doing good old Y2K services.
Oh, yeah.
I had guys doing SAP, this, that, you name it. We had them all doing it. And yes, they were on some, great rates. But look, that was only a means to what I wanted to do. And for me, my goal was very simple. The revenue and money I was making out of recruitment was all to go into to reaching my goal, which was to buy vineyards, to move into the wine industry, to become a winemaker. That was it. And so pre-Y2K, and just post Y2K, I was given the opportunity to sell that company and myself, and I brought a few guys in with me, and we sold the business, and I moved into wine. And look, that just was a wonderful time and experience. And then I grew the wine business very much like a consultancy business, where I had it vertically integrated across multiple segments of the business, from being a grower to a contract grower to a winemaker to a contract winemaker, and then even helping other small growers and winemakers market themselves and grow, build our own collective. And that moved on, and then I started purchasing vineyards in Eden Valley in South Australia, and then also contracting fruit out of the Barossa, and then it just got too big. It's just, and not sounding like, hey, yeah, it's huge. No, it got too hard.
Yeah.
It was, farming is hard. Farming, and, you know, I have the biggest respect for all forms of farmers out there, you know, and it can seem romantic and so forth, but the romance in wine is when you've actually had half a bottle, trust me. Not, you know, hoping that, you know, you don't get rain at a particular time and you don't get this and that, you know.
I remember sitting around, my brother-in-law had a vineyard in the Hunter Valley, Windsor Edge Wines, and he sold it a bunch of years ago now, but I remember sitting around and all the small wine growers, their down day was Wednesday, and they would all get together, and it was, as you would imagine, just this long table of just amazing platter of food and wines, and, you know, you sort of think, oh, this is a good life. But of course, the other 6 days, they were just,
that's right.
They were going crazy. I mean, that's just the wine industry. Let alone, like you're
that's
saying,
exactly right. That's exactly right. So I have a huge amount of respect for them. But I made a decision with my wife, Jane. My son was 2.5 at the time. Well, now we were actually living in Sydney, and I was commuting to South Australia pretty much every couple of weeks.
Wow.
Back and forth, because that was our home. And, you know, and so I was like, you know what? This is around 2010. I thought it was time to move on, and we should now start to exit. And also while exiting, I thought, well, my wife's family, they moved up here to the Sunshine Coast back in 2000. Perfect timing. I thought, well, hey, if we get out of Sydney now, we won't be stuck here for another 20 years sending our son to one of the schools and so forth. You know, a bit like going to Newey, Jono. We had Jack booked into Shaw. I was like, oh, you know, typical kind of,
that's a good reason to leave Sydney.
Well, at least in the hip pocket.
Yeah, and so, you know, but we're very fortunate. And we moved up to the coast 10 years ago this Christmas. And while we settled up here, we were selling out of our interests in the winery and the vineyards. And basically it gave me the opportunity to take a step back. And we still had quite a bit of wine we had to sell through. So that was pretty fun for a couple of years, you know. That was my job, really, walking around selling the wine for a couple of years.
Okay.
But while being up here, I thought, right, what am I actually going to do for my next gig? And I thought, right, I could be a hospitality consultant, help people set up bars and cafes and restaurants. And we did a bit of that. But I couldn't stop seeing how much coffee was being sold.
Yep.
I mean, oh my gosh. And this is going back to what, 2004 to, even from 2004, like 2014, 15, it's just growing, right? Just absolutely growing. And friends of mine have a very well-respected roastery in Brisbane. And I said, and they used to buy wine from me. So I went down to them and I said, hey, fellas, can you teach me how to roast coffee? And I said, oh, Mick, what do you want to roast coffee for? I said, well, you know, I want to create my own coffee. I mean, if I can make wine, surely I can make coffee, right? Anyway, they let me. They took me under their wing for a few months, and I was creating blends, and they kept on saying, "Stop complicating it. Why don't you just do the single origin?" I said, "No, come on. We want to create flavor." So I'd bring in my basically, it was like being in a wine lab. I bring in my test tube and I start blending. And it was just, and that's how we created the Barossa blend, the MDV. Michael Data.
That was your signature blend, was it?
Yes. So still to this day, it's the biggest selling blend for the business globally.
Oh,
it's the biggest selling. It's the biggest private label blend for clients, because clients, you know, can pick and choose the blends they want for their own labels as well. But look, that took me into launching Bear Coffee.
Well, I guess for Jono and I, that Barossa Valley linkage is really quite deep, because
I forgot that with you. Yeah.
Yeah, both our families came out of Europe back in the 1850s to the Barossa Valley.
Yeah, the Prussian connection.
Yeah, geez, you know, it's.
The blue tack farm.
Did you just lose me?
No, yeah, just.
You guys are going to laugh. No, I need to just plug.
You're going to plug in.
I'm just going to plug in there for a second.
So how much electricity supply in Australia? Internet's a bit dodgy. Electricity.
Hang on a sec. This is too funny. But yes, I just had to.
Hey, Michael, we met there on the sunny coast some 5 years back, 6 years back, something like that.
That's right. That's right.
And we were living up the other end of the sunny coast, up around Noosa at that stage, and we could only get internet via the dodgy old version 1 satellite. We had a beautiful view over Noosa, the beaches, 50 kilometres of national park.
Yeah.
And a satellite internet that couldn't even download.
Well, with a view like that, you don't need internet.
Well, somebody's got to build a business.
It's a nice spot.
Oh, geez, it's a wonderful spot, Noosa, and I think but it took me. I mean, once we launched Bear, I immediately got itchy feet that I had to launch the company, internationally. But it's taken me probably. Once we got to about 6-7 years of being here is when I actually really started feeling like I really enjoyed living here. Because, with me and wanting to do so much business and just enjoying business, it's like that old saying, isn't it? You kind of live on the coast, but if you wanted to do bigger things, you travel from here and you go out. And look, there's a lot of friends of ours that do that from here. And look, when we met, it was hilarious. Jono, you might not know the story, but when we actually met, it was at one of my original coffee shops up at Buddha. Remember that?
It was, indeed.
Yeah, the original Bear coffee shop. Yeah, they actually brilliant location for networking and meeting people. So that one shop enabled me to actually, I used it as my office, really. I mean, I had so many people come in and meet with me from all forms of industry. That evening, we had a whole group of people from different industry at that night. So, no, it's been a great journey. Coffee, I don't think, again, I've vertically integrated the coffee business. So Bear Coffee is like my wine consulting company, by the way, is called the Grape Hunter.
Yes.
And it's exactly, Bear Coffee is the same. We are the end-to-end solution in the coffee industry, and my latest project, is about to become the same, the bike business.
But not just
I just think it's fascinating about the mindset that you have around taking in business international, and you were just, it was just a no-brainer for you. However, there's a lot of people out there that they build something and they go, I just want it for my community. And then you think, well, what about the rest of the world? Why can't they have your lovely stuff?
Yeah, it's an interesting,
can you talk
about way of thinking.
That?
Yeah, sure. I think, Linda, it's an interesting way of thinking. We behave, human behavior is a funny thing, isn't it? But if you think about how we grow up and what we perceive to be achievable or doable, we tend to restrict ourselves to that in different, I guess, societies, cultures, and where I've just been fortunate is that I think my mentality has been that, yes, number one, if I'm going to make something that I really love and that my friends locally love it, and that's always been the case. I've always made wine back in the day, for my friends to enjoy, and then if they'd enjoy it, then they'd tell everybody else, and that's how we sold it, right? And same with coffee. And then I thought to myself, well, yeah, you know what? This deserves to go out to everybody. But I think that's that part, and then I think everybody wants to do that if they've got a product they've created or made. But then it's that business part, don't you think, where they go, oh, the barrier. And then, they may go to the traditional business councils, like business chambers or Austrade or, in Australia to try and get to the next, or get advice to go to the next level. But they seem to think it's too hard. Maybe it's also because they've got people around them telling them, no, don't complicate things.
Just keep it simple, keep it small.
Big part of Australia's is not enough an entrepreneurial thinking. It's to some extent, it's a denigrating sort of language that's used a lot. We use it in humour, but we use negative all the time. And that rub off of them.
Look, I don't want to make my son an example of this, but he's just turned 13, right? And he's you know, he doesn't have a frontal lobe, right? It doesn't exist. You know, there's this gap in his brain that just goes, huh? Huh? Right? And so, you know, and without realizing, you know, he and his mates can say negative things or be negative and not proactive and all these things. And I've actually asked him now, and some people might say, you know, listening to this or watching this go, oh, Michael, that's just ridiculous. But I've said to him now, look, all right, mate, you watch your YouTube videos, and he watches pretty cool YouTube videos. It's not really too much on gaming anymore. It's on cool mountain bike things and whatever it is. But I said, every night, why don't you just watch 3 great videos, one on motivation, one on proactive communication, and just one on just really people that are out there achieving, you know, like, you know, just watch 3 videos on that. You know what, let's sit down and just talk about them. Let's just talk about them. Now, he's only done it for 2 nights in a row, but, you know, already you can see the eyes are twitching and tweaking, and he's, you know, it's like we're starting to create a behavior, a habit, which becomes his behavior
at that age.
I guess, you know. And look, don't get me wrong, there's going to be times you go, I'm not interested, blah, blah. I know that. But, you know, as much as I can get him doing that now, that later on it just becomes natural, I think. And so later on in life, when he's in his 20s, or whatever it might be, hopefully, he's just going, no, I'm just going to keep going, push through. And that's what we were trying to focus on, you know, because, there's too many of these environmental things coming in at play that they say, no, stop. I'm like, no, push through.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I love that. It's, you know, because I hang out with a guy over here who does that. He has a whole thing called Dad School. And, and he's literally got a binder of stuff that he, like, so things like at age 3, age 10, and I think 13, he takes he's got 3 boys, takes each of them away on a camping trip, and like just 2 or 3 days, and they do some survival stuff. But they, and just those kind of inputs are just so important. But we see this then playing out in that, you know, that mindset, right, and that mentality of just keep it calm, just keep it down, and, you know, don't stand out too much. It's okay for you to do all right, but don't do too all right, you know. And we have that in Australia. I think in Australia we're really good at coming up with stuff. I think we're one of the best in the world at it. It's just it's the execution from there on.
Yeah.
And that's why here in America you see so many Australians.
That's right. That's right. And, you know,
areas.
Absolutely. And look, I find that exciting. I find it really exciting when I meet, you know, fellow Aussies that are really craving to get to America, you know, to build their business. And I mean, I'm now even talking to people that I'm helping them create their own coffee brand to go to the States. I go, look, you can do exactly what Bear's done. Let's go. My recent project in the US was helping a gentleman out of New Zealand build an international coffee and tea distribution business and network.
And the coffee industry really is taking off over here in terms of the high end stuff. So
that's right. That's right. It's and it's a huge amount. I mean, I love but it's great when you meet people that aren't in the US trying to get in, they're wanting to build their business. I love it. I think it's so exciting. And the more knowledge I can share with people of what to expect, or even not, you know, more so just expect everything. You know, it's all anything can happen. I mean, geez, you know, pre-March this year, as I was saying to John earlier the other day, I was over there so often that suddenly I haven't been there since March, you know. It changes everything on how you work and how you operate, and how you actually then start to rely on the people you've been working with for so long. And it's great that, hang on, and I was saying, you know, I'm a bit of a control freak, but I'm working with really amazing people. Let's just let them go, and let's work together and let them do what they do. And it's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
You mentioned something the other night on the call that's actually stuck with me, and I've been chewing on it for 2 days now. Thanks, man. And it was I work hard now to make it easier. And it was such a profound statement to me, because we're so tied up in this, in the entrepreneurial journey, it's like, oh, work smarter, not harder, which is kind of cool, but it's really a cliche because no one knows what the heck that even means. And, right. But you said, yeah, I work hard to make it easier. Just unpack that a little bit for me, man, because that was in the context, just for background, that was in the context of saying, you've got all these different businesses across all these different countries, plus you're a dad, plus you're a husband, and all that sort of thing. It's like, how the heck do you do it? And still have a great smile on your face,
I'm just surrounded by great people. I learned early on that, and I learned this predominantly. It's interesting, when I was in my little tech recruitment business, I had a small group of brilliant people around me, but then we had this amazing network of people, obviously our senior project managers and so forth. Like, it was those people that enabled me to focus on the bits that I actually enjoy to do, which is, facilitate, strategic partnerships and liaise and, make deals and break deals, whatever you may call it, and then that same thing in the wine industry. So, and then in coffee. So what I have been able to do really is focus on those people now. It's really interesting. I think, that cliche about, work smarter, not harder. Well, you've got to work really hard to be smart. I'm not smart yet. I'm definitely not smart yet.
I love that.
No way.
Really hard to be smart. There's our takeaway for today.
That's it. Just work really hard to be smart and keep bloody working, because
some of us have to work harder than others.
And that's that's right, and that's absolutely okay. Yeah. Absolutely okay. But
actually, how much fun is it to work hard? How much fun is it building your own business? Like, it's not. It doesn't just feel like work.
That's right. That's right, mate. It's so much fun and it's enjoyable, and especially, again, for me personally, the product's only one part of it, but excuse me, sorry. There you go, back there. I don't know why it's saying that. I don't know. I thought this was charged. Sorry, guys. I hope the whole thing doesn't go kaput in a second, but it might. Anyway, but if it does, we'll reconfigure it somehow. What were we saying? Sorry.
You have to work hard to be smart.
How much fun it is.
See what I mean, guys? I told you about that. Yeah, and look, I think the thing not to forget this is, because at the times when it is difficult, as we all know, and you think, that's it, I'm done. Don't get me, I go through it all the time.
Oh yeah.
That's it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing any more social media. I'm bloody done with this stuff. And then you just got to give yourself, whether it's a day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is for you, whatever works for you, give yourself that time out. Give yourself that time out, but don't dwell on it. Don't let those people in your ears saying, be the negative sayers and the nayers and all that. No. Give yourself some time out. Think about all the great things that you're doing in your business. Get over yourself and get on with it. And go hard. Just keep going. And it's and I think, positive behavior, internalizing positive behavior is so important.
Yeah.
Before we finish up today, I'm so excited to hear about this how do you go from coffee into
e-bikes?
I know your brand is Coffee Sport, and then you go into
Am I allowed to call them cheap bikes?
You go from coffee to e-bikes,
These are the t-shirts that are coming our way.
That's fascinating. Can you?
I'm just very passionate about, so many years ago, in my early 20s, I used to ride mountain bikes a lot back in the day. And then recently, it was actually my son and his friends, they've all gone mountain bike crazy over here. Everyone's gone mountain bike crazy because, of COVID and all the rest of it. And the only thing you could really do is go mountain biking or running or whatever. So it's got our kids outside. It's been brilliant. And so I took my old 1994 Gary Fisher bike, which is pretty amazing, 1994 bike. And I thought, I'm gonna go nuts on this. Well, after the first run on it, I thought I was gonna die. I mean, I did hit a tree, I fell over, hurt my, but I was cool, right? I thought I was cool. Anyway, 2 weeks into it, I went to our local bike shop in Caloundra called Bicycle Centre Caloundra. And the owner of the shop, Annie Hoskin, she says, Michael, look, I know you're going to say this is e-bike, blah, 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 you know, cheetah and all this kind of stuff. And she said, just try it. Just try this e-bike. Go and try this e-mountain bike. I said, okay. Oh my gosh. I was flying up these hills. Now it's pedal assisted. It actually doesn't go for you, but it's this fully, you know, it's this full complete dual suspension mountain bike with this amazing motor underneath it. And you are just flying up these hills, but then you're doing suddenly, and you know, you're going down, and obviously it's not working when you're going downhill, but you've gone up and down 5 times when everyone else has gone up once or twice. And you're going, hang on, this is amazing. And suddenly it re-energizes you. And I got so euphoric. I went, hang on, this is a really amazing product. And all my mates want to buy one. All my other dad mates, you know.
This is the my mates do kind of thing.
Yeah. Tell
it to my mates and I'll tell everyone else.
and then suddenly everyone's saying, yeah, it's the fastest growth category in mountain bikes or bikes is the e-bike category. And I started becoming a YouTube junkie, watching every single video and every single channel on e-bikes, then calling up each of the, now this is the key thing that I didn't talk about before, which I spoke to John about the other night. I love controlling supply chain or understanding every part of the supply chain. So I went right back to every major manufacturer of these bikes, talking to them, you know, literally meeting with them over Zoom. I actually started working hands-on a few hours a week in the shop at Bicycle Centre Caloundra, just loving it. It's like fantastic. And I actually started advising the owners on their business and how to structure their business to grow it. And then I'm like, and then I said, well, I like it so much. Why don't I just set up a company and get them involved? So I did. But my focus on that particular brand, Mohawk e-bikes is the brand that we're running with under that brand name. Cause it's, but then we'll have a couple of other brands within the group that will be more focused on other, you know, that will still, it's not that we won't sell non-e-bikes, but my love and passion is definitely the technology and innovation around it. It's incredible. All the bike companies.
We're really going to have to get you to Europe, where the bicycle movement has gone off. In fact, you know, in the budget brought down by the French government, the government is now paying for you to learn how to ride a bicycle in France. There's a new government grant.
It's so awesome. Now, I'm actually about to start importing into Australia one of the hottest French designed and made mountain bikes called Moustache.
Nice.
So Europe is phenomenal. We're dying to get to Europe to just be part of that whole mountain bike scene. It's all about Europe. Everything's happening over there.
Happens to be that we know a manufacturer of electric bikes in Spain.
Well, there you go.
We might have to sort of look at another company, this one in Europe.
I think we do, mate. I think Mohawk Spain has to start launching pretty soon. So,
so we also have a couple of messages here on Facebook from David Mansfield was saying, hey, where is it on Facebook? Are you on today? So he said, and he was really disappointed, but that's okay. We're going to do the replay. His next startup is coffee, so he's like, come on.
Fantastic. Well,
so he so he's very disappointed that he missed you, but we can put you guys in contact anyway.
David's in Toowoomba.
So he's
fantastic.
He owns Canvas Co-working up in Toowoomba, so they work with startups all the time. So
fantastic.
It's a good connection anyway. So
great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So,
well,
Michael, branding, control of supply sides, obviously the financial background to be able to make a profit, removal of those barriers, mental blocks that society can bring upon you. They're all recipes for a very successful and obviously very enjoyable life.
Very much so, mate. Look, I think now I recently turned 50. And I made a very conscious decision that, you know, and I made the decision many years ago. I'd never work for a job, that type of saying, I
Yeah.
I'd only do what I really love to do. So it has to be enjoyable. And look, because I think of my background in business, of course, everything I've done has been based around first a business structure, a plan, a structure, and also an exit strategy.
Yeah.
In every business model I've had, there's been an exit strategy. And look, I haven't gone into detail, but look, in the coffee business, I have had the fortunate opportunity of selling off some parts of the business to other associates in the industry to enable me just to focus on the bits that I truly love, but still work with that, vertical. So I think, look, I'm very much now a realist of what my capacity is, or want it to be, and my capacity must fit into ensuring that I have a great family life. I want to see my son grow up. I want to play lots of sport with him, and I love spending time with my wife, and we're having a ball up here. And, I think these last few months for a lot of us, has made us think, well, do I really need to travel every 6 weeks to the US for 2 weeks just because I like it? Or, or think that I have to do it? No. And I think, just realizing what it is that I truly enjoy, and ensuring that, there is structure and process around that, for sure.
Fantastic.
A lot of discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been really enjoyable. It's, we could probably do another 3 or 4 of these and still not really get to the depth that we of what's really going on around you. It's, but it's been fun to hear you talk it through and the things that, as Mark pointed out, you're just hearing about the mindset and how but it sounds like, you owe some of that to your parents as well. And just how they process things, and even your dad saying don't become a doctor, and you're like, but we could start these doctors' practices, which straight away said, I don't want to be a doctor, I want to run the business of a medical practice, right?
Yeah.
It's always been in your DNA to be the business guy, and
who knew, right?
so what we'll do is we'll bring you back on in a few months. We'll all have our Bear Coffee t-shirts by then.
Yeah.
And
send me, I need sizes, I need to know sizes, addresses, and they're on their way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, this has been fantastic, Michael. Really appreciate the time. Love the journey that you've been on. And now, I don't know if you wanted to actually make the announcement. You're talking about your next venture.
I can't. Yeah, I can't until, because I was hoping. Yeah, but we will for sure. My appointment will be officially announced, I think, tomorrow afternoon now.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing about that, and we can obviously, once you know what it is and can make it public, we'll look forward to sharing that as well. But just a ton of positive energy. The world needs more people like you.
Yeah.
And,
mate, thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
That can get out there and get it done and lead a really full life, right? Because this is not just about businesses. This is about family. This is about relationships. It's about, you talked about mates a lot, and that sort of thing. And I think that's been a fantastic story. I don't know about you guys over there in France, but I've really enjoyed just been taking it in. So thank you very much. It's been
thanks, guys.
A real pleasure. Awesome. Mark and Linda,
appreciate it.
Always great.
Yep.
And so we'll look forward to everyone's going to be watching this via some kind of live stream or something later on. But thanks very much. This is our weekly fireside chat with an entrepreneur. We've been with Michael Data from Bear, and we look forward to what we got coming up next week. Mark, what have we? Yeah, we got a surprise.
We might have one of the hottest startup entrepreneurs in the United States at the moment.
Woo! Fantastic.
An Australian that is taking over the US by storm.
Wonderful.
Unbelievable.
Go Aussie.
Aussie.
Go Queenslander.
Let's just say it's going to be a really fast interview.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So let's not make it. So it's going to be the middle of the day my time, so I'll actually be awake.
Do you really he won't be using his iPhone SE sticking up with blue tape? That's the original iPhone SE.
We keep it real, us Aussies, It's just,
oh, mate, that's right.
Listen, mate, let's wrap this up. That's been fantastic. Right. Thanks, Mark and Linda, once again.
Thanks, Jono.
And the crowd roars.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye
Cheers.
all.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.